Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, evening, whatever time it is you're watching this video. Welcome back to Nerdess Miniatures for those of you who've been with us for a while, and welcome to your very first video for those of you who are new. God, if I could just get my voice together. So today we are going to be doing a little bit of Slapchop or Double Slapchop, some, ooh, God, really? Take two. Today we are going to be working on a piece from DM Stash because we all know I love DM Stash, but his name is Kuthrak Va and he's from the Welcome Stash. We're going to be doing some double slap chop, some highlighting using our favorites, the Warpaints Fanatic line and the Speedpaints line, and we're just going to have a good old time with it. So if you hang out till the end of the video, I have an announcement to make, but let's get started. Alright, so we're going to start with a black prime. We're going to do a regular zenithal prime, so I'm going to use this gray brush on primer and a dry brush and just hit him on all of the high spots, all of the areas that I want to be a little bit brighter and have a little bit more color. Then after this, I'm going to go in with matte white and hit all of the really high spots. Give him a lot of good highlights to work with here later. Now I'm just going to go in with a flat brush and paint all of my crystals white so that they take on the color that I want just a little bit better. Alright, we're ready to begin our slap chop. We're going to start with Grim Black, diluted about halfway with Speed Paint Medium, just because Grim Black on its own is a little bit too opaque for my liking on this. So we're going to paint all of the stone pieces. Next, we're going to go in with Bony Matter and paint the skull and the horns and everything. These two colors are really great for base colors to start out that we can layer on later. Now I'm going to go in with Moon Lake Coral. Such a beautiful color. I love it so much. This is going to be the starting point for all of our crystals. God, look. That's just so pretty and pink, and I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay. Next part. Here in 3, 2, 1. There it is. Gunner Camo. I'm going to dilute it a little bit with Speed Paint Medium, again, just to thin it out a little bit so it's not so opaque. And this is going to be the starting point for all of our skins, so this is going to go over all of the scales and all of the exposed places. So remember, when you're doing slap chop, you want to work with a little bit bigger of a brush. You want to load your brush up pretty good, but not to where it's dripping. And you want to work quickly. You're going to put the paint on and you're going to move it around as fast as you can so that you try to avoid those coffee stains and excessive pooling. And when you get that pooling that you're not looking for, just wick your brush on a piece of paper towel or whatever you're using so that you can dry it off a little bit, and then go back in with your brush and just wick that extra paint up and it'll come up really easily. Next, we're going to paint all of the ropes and fur with this burnished red. I did not dilute this one at all because it's a really good color all on its own without any kind of dilution. You want to make sure you're practicing good brush control here on these really tiny parts. Just use the tip of your brush and try not to spill over into your other colors because this is a darker color and will make things harder to cover up later. Now we're going to paint all of the arm wraps and the tunic with Hive Dweller purple. I chose purple because it's complementary to green, but, you know, also he could take over as the Joker's new henchman with this color scheme. Alright, for our final step, we're doing brazen copper for our belt buckle and our chainmail, and that will conclude our first round of slap chop. This could be technically tabletop ready, but if you know me, you know I'm not done yet, so let's move on to round 2. Another dry brush with matte white, and here I just put the picture that I had of him under light while he was primed black, just so I could have a better idea of where all our biggest highlights are gonna be. Round 2 and go! Runic Gray for our stone highlights, and then we're gonna move on to Bony Matter. Now, at first I put it on and it was a little bit too opaque, so I rinsed it off and put speed paint medium in it to thin it out so that it would go on a little bit better for our bone highlights. And now with warrior skin, we're gonna put that on the horns and the rope and fur as our second layer. And now purple swarm because I fucking like it. And also it's a lighter shade of purple, so it goes perfect over the tunic and the arm wraps. And now for our second layer of skin tone, I really can't remember which one I used. It's either shamrock green or orc skin, but I forgot to show the camera. So it's one of these two, but we're just gonna go over all of the skin again with this to give it some really nice highlights and pop the skin out a little bit. And now we're going to use Talos Bronze. We're just going to dry brush it over the chainmail and the belt buckle to give it some highlights and depth. And here's Familiar Pink diluted with Speed Paint Medium to just go over the crystals because it's a lighter color and it produces some really nice highlights and shadows. Now we're moving into our Warpaints Fanatic. We're going to use Military Shade because I think he's just a little bit too bright here. So we're going to darken him up just a little bit so that we can highlight here in a minute. Time to give him a little manicure with some skeleton bone. We're going to paint all of his claws and highlight the skull with the skeleton bone. Highlight time! We're gonna go in with Wild Green. So I started here, but I didn't feel like it was giving enough of a highlight color. It just didn't seem to be doing what I wanted. So here in a second, I'm gonna dilute it with some matte white to make it just a little bit brighter. And then we're just going to go in on all of the high points on him. See, it's not standing out. Like, it just doesn't seem to be doing what I want it to. Here we are, matte white. And then look at that, look at it. So much better, so much brighter, I love it. Okay, anyway, all the high points. And now for a little bit of cultist purple on the arm wraps and on the tunic, and we are about there. Alright guys, you've made it to the end. You're waiting to see how we turned out. But first, I want to tell you about that little surprise we talked about earlier. We are going to try to do a giveaway for this very same miniature that we painted today. As soon as we hit 50 subscribers, we're going to set up this whole giveaway. So just stay tuned and we'll let you know when it's ready to happen. But without further ado, here is the final result.